Hello students, welcome to maths class. Today we are going to discuss a topic probability which deals with the study of chances. Firstly, let's have a look on the objectives. Objective number 1 is probability for single coin and single dice. Objective number 2 is probability for different colored balls. Now let's have a look on the related terms. So here term number 1 is experiment, which means an action which results in some outcomes. It is called an experiment. For example, if we toss a coin, this is an action. If we toss a coin, so what are the outcomes? Either head or tail. So this is the term number 1. Now term number 2, random experiment. An experiment is called random if it has more than one outcome. More than one outcome, as I have shown you just now. Here outcome was more than one, so it is a random experiment. Now next term is sample space. What is sample space? It means it is a collection of all possible outcomes of an experiment. Students, let's suppose consider this case only. In this case, what will be the sample space? Sample space will be head, comma, tail, and it is enclosed in curly brackets and separated by commas. Next term is event. What is an event? It is a subset of the sample space. Now students, let's have a look on the formula. So what is the related formula? Formula is P of E is equals to number of favorable outcomes upon total number of possible outcomes. Now, what are favorable outcomes? Favorable outcomes are the outcomes of the interest. Now, what is the meaning of E? E stands for an event and P stands for probability. Students, before starting with sums, I want to discuss the steps related to the sums. Now, step number 1 is to write the sample space. Means, first of all, before starting the question, we have to mention all the possible outcomes. This is the step number 1. Step number 2 is to write the particular part which we are going to be solved. Students, there will be multiple parts in this statement. You have to write the part which you are going to solve. Step number 3 is to write the formula of probability, which I have told you now only. P of E is equals to number of favorable outcomes upon total number of possible outcomes. Step number 4 is to write the favorable outcomes of the particular part. Means the part which we are going to solve. In that case, we have to write the outcomes of our interest. This is the step number 4. Step number 5 is to put values of favorable and possible outcomes and then do the cutting if possible. So these are the various steps to solve the sums. Now students, let's start with the sum. So what is the type number 1, which I have told you in objectives? Type number 1 is of single coin and single die. So here we will discuss about single coin. So statement is, a coin is tossed once, find the probability of getting a head, second part a tail. So Now see the pattern of the question. First of all, we will write the sample space. In case of tossing a coin, what are the possible outcomes? It can be either head or it can be either tail. Now start with the part number 1. Part number 1 is getting a head. Now what is the favorable outcome? This one. This is the outcome of interest. So favorable outcomes is equals to H out of the sample space. And how many number of favorable outcomes are there? There is one outcome. And total, how many possible outcomes are there? 1, 2. So total possible outcomes are 2. Now write down the formula. Number of favorable outcomes upon total number of possible outcomes. Therefore, P of E is equals to 1 upon 2. So this is the part number 1. Now, part number 2 is getting a tail. So what are the favorable outcomes in this case? This one, T. So write here favorable outcomes is equals to T. And how many number of favorable outcomes are there? That is 1. And number of possible outcomes is equals to 2. So therefore P of E is equals to 1 upon 2. Now let's start with the next type, that is based on single die. So what is the statement? Statement is a die is thrown once. Find the probability of getting first part a number 4, second part a number less than 7, third part an even number, fourth part a number greater than 6, fifth part prime number. Now students, as I told you in previous question, firstly we have to write sample space. So what is the sample space in case of a die? This is the sample space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll write here. This is the sample space. Now start with the part number 1. That is a number 4. Write the formula. P of E is equals to number of favorable outcomes upon total number of possible outcomes. Now students, what are the favorable outcome? In this case, a number 4. This one. This is the outcome of my interest. So favorable outcome is equals to 4 and number of favorable outcomes. Count. It is 1 only. So write here 1. And how many number of possible outcomes are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here it is 6. So therefore P of E is equals to 1 upon 6. So this is the part number 1. Now come to the second part, that is a number less than 7. Write here favorable outcomes less than 7 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And number of favorable outcomes 6. Also number of possible outcomes is equals to 6. So therefore P of E is equals to 6 upon 6. After cutting we will get 1. Now next part is an even number. This is the part number 3. Even number favorable outcomes will be 2, 4, 6. And number of favorable outcomes are 3. 1, 2, 3. So P of E is equals to this 3 upon 6. So after cutting we will get 1 upon 2. This is the answer of part number 3. Now come to the next part, fourth part, that is a number greater than 6. Now students, see here, can we see any number which is greater than 6? So answer will be no. So favorable outcomes are blank, means there is no favorable outcomes. So therefore number of favorable outcomes is equals to 0 and number of possible outcomes will remain same, that is 6. So therefore P of E is equals to 0 upon 6 is equals to 0. Now this is the part number 4. Now come to the last part, that is prime number. So prime numbers. Firstly, you have to write down prime numbers between 1 till 6. So prime numbers favorable outcomes are 2, 3, 5 and count them. They are 1, 2, 3. So therefore number of favorable outcomes is equals to 3 and total outcomes are 6. So therefore P of E is equals to 3 upon 6. So answer is 1 upon 2. So this is the second question. Now we are going to start with next type number 2, which is related with different colored balls. So what is the statement? Statement is a bag contains 5 white balls, 6 red balls and 9 green balls. A ball is drawn at random. Find probability of getting a green ball. First part, a red ball. Second part, neither green nor white. Third part. So students, first of all, I have to write the sample space. What will be the sample space in case of balls? Means we have to write total balls. 5 white balls plus 6 red balls plus 9 green balls. So total balls are 20. So therefore total possible outcomes will be 20 in all cases. Now start with the part number first. That is getting a green ball. Now we have to write the formula. P of E is equals to number of favorable outcomes upon total number of possible outcomes. We have to write formula once only, as I have told you earlier also. Now number of favorable outcomes in case of green balls. What are the favorable outcomes? Total green balls are 9 and number of possible outcomes, that are 20. So therefore P of E is equals to 9 upon 20. Here students, cutting is not possible, so we can't do the cutting. So therefore answer is equals to 9 upon 20. Now move to the second part, that is a red ball. A red ball. How many red balls are there? 6 red balls are there. 6 red balls, 6 red balls. So these are the number of favorable outcomes, and number of possible outcomes again same, that are 20. So therefore P of E is equals to 6 upon 20. So in this case cutting is possible. We will do the cutting. After cutting we will get answer as 3 upon 10. Now we are left with third part, that is neither green nor white. Now students, neither green nor white. What does it mean? It means neither white nor green. So we are left with only red balls. Only red balls. I have written here neither green nor white means red balls. So red balls are 6. So these are the number of favorable outcomes. And how many number of possible outcomes are there? Again same, that are 20. So therefore P of E is equals to 6 upon 20, and after cutting we will get 3 upon 10. So students, today we have discussed these objectives and sums related to these two objectives. Students, you will get worksheet related to these types in your SNAP homework. I hope that you will be able to solve those worksheets. Thank you.